عليه وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ثم أما بعد. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, on the same chapter that we had last time, باب النهي عن الفحش وبذاءة اللسان أو بذاء اللسان, prohibition of vulgarity and obscene language. Hadith number 1735, قال وعن أنس رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما كان الفحش في شيء إلا شانه وما كان الحياء في شيء إلا زانه. رواه Tirmidhi. In this hadith, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making this comparison. He's making this comparison between speaking vulgarity and speaking with modesty. What's the difference? What's the influence or the effect of speaking modestly versus with vulgarity? So he said, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم ما كان الفحش في شيء إلا شانه. He said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-fuhsh, which means vulgarity, indecent talk or conversation words. He says indecency does not leave anything untainted, and decency does not leave anything ungraced and embellished. Kind of like the English is a transition is very rough a little bit over here. He goes, ما كان الفحش في شيء إلا شانه. Anything that you speak and anything in your word that when you use vulgarity in your speech, it ruins it. When you speak with vulgarity, it just destroys, your language. Makes it ugly, it makes it bad. That's what it means. And he says the opposite will speak with modesty. When you use polite words, when you have that sense of modesty and politeness when you speak, it makes it so beautiful and enhance the quality of your conversation with people. So simply the Prophet ﷺ is speaking to us about what has become so common in our culture today. In our culture today, when people speak in a common conversation, they don't have to have anything in particular. They're not angry, they're not upset, they're not, they're just speaking to you. They speak about the news, for example, or speak about maybe gas prices, whatever that is, right? Suddenly you have all these vulgar words just thrown in between. Everything. Even when they speak to their friends, they cuss at them and they curse at them in a form of, endearment. Like they want to be nice to you, so just kind of like curse at this individual. Like, well, you this and that, and they all these bad words, subhanAllah. And in this society, in this culture, that seems to be okay, and it seems to be sweet and nice and beautiful. But the Prophet ﷺ is telling us otherwise. He goes, look, every time you use these words, it makes the conversation ugly. ما كان الفحش في شيء إلا شانه. It just makes it ugly. And whenever you speak with politeness, no matter what the circumstances are, let these people curse at you. How do you reply to them? In a way that reflects your quality, not theirs. So whoever they speak to you, speak in a nice way, with modest words, with modest words in a conversation. It makes it so beautiful and raises this to the highest level. So that's from the Prophet ﷺ, is an indication, an instruction, that no matter what kind of conversation you have with people, make sure to uphold to your standard. Hold on to your standard of character. You speak to people based on who you are, not what they are. No matter what they say to you, you need to make sure that you keep your tongue clean and pure. Now, is it okay to use some of these, vulgar words, for example? Not necessarily to curse at somebody, but in a conversation that you have to in order for you to explain something. Now, if that's part of the actual maybe content in the conversation that you have to use these words, yeah, like what? Like explaining to somebody what they said, for example. Do you have to say it? Well, if they couldn't understand, then you can say that. It's okay. If you would like to tell a story that it has some words like these, is that okay? The answer is yes. Imam Ibn Qutaybah rahimahullah says that's actually it doesn't take the person out of modesty, because now you're only telling a story, you're telling what happened, an incident, and you're not using these words to offend somebody. You're using it as just to tell the story, to tell what happened there. Although, of course, if you can avoid them by giving something polite, that has been much better for you. So the whole purpose of this hadith right now is to teach us when we speak, we have a very polite, clean language and pure tongue. May Allah make us some of those who maintain that, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Wallahu alam. Any question, Jama'ah? Yes? I can barely hear you, I'm sorry. The word mean, like say you're so mean. That's fine. That's a kindergarten يعني language problem. It's okay. That's no problem. Inshallah. Naam. Anything else, يا جماعة؟ خير إن شاء الله. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.